Hey everyone, this is Editman, and today I'm here to talk about the Season 2 changes in Tekken 7 and what needs to improve. For those who are unaware, Harada has made it clear that with the games selling well, they are now saying that more content with the game is on the way. Now, that doesn't mean that we should get hyped for this yet, until we see what the 8 DLC packs contain, because besides the 1 year anniversary DLC, most of the DLC of Tekken 7 Season 1 was a huge disappointment and not worth having. First thing that needs to change is the arcade mode. The arcade mode for Tekken 7 is pretty lackluster. With a roster of 39 characters, there's no reason not to extend the stages for 5 to 10 stages, 9 or 8 give or take. Some doesn't understand why we need so many stages. It's because it's been a great tradition in fighting games history, and it's the first mode people go to whenever they pick a fighting game to try out characters and to give players a nostalgic feel to play like the arcades. Despite the story battles being short in Tekken 6, the arcade mode still has the traditional 9 stages if you include Nancy. Next will be having treasure battle rewards on the character you are using. This was an issue I had in Tekken Tag Tournament 2, to where you're only rewarded if you beat certain characters with the items. At least that's how I think of Tekken Tag Tournament 2's Ghost Battles. In Tekken 7, it is completely randomized and you mostly don't get the items you want on the character you are using. In Tekken 6's scenario campaign, it rewards you and your partner items on the characters you use in those battles, making it less tedious. So something like that in Tekken 7's Treasure Battle will help a lot to players who want to customize their main characters or characters they use. The next change would be rank indicators and rage quitters. Rank indicators has been requested by many fans during Tekken 7's life cycle because most online ranked fighting games has this system, such as Virtua Fighter 5, Street Fighter 5, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and so on. Tekken began this ranking system back in Dark Resurrection, and since then there has been no rank indicators. Especially with the wins and losses players experience, it is difficult to tell if they're ranking up or getting demoted. So having an indicator bar like the one at Revolution will help seeing one's rank you're on to the next rank. Another thing is rage quitters. Coming back to Tekken Revolution, it handled rage quitting quite well. If the opponent rage quits on you during your promotion match, and you can still get promoted, and can still have the fight money, depending on your performance. I expect to see it return in Tekken 7. This is a no-brainer, but returning offline modes in Tekken 7 would be nice to have, especially since online ranking can be a bit boring after a while. Now, there is a Tekken Bowl, but first off, it's $14 to download. $14 with no online support. Get the heck out of here. So it would be nice to see returning modes such as Survival, Tekken Ball, Tekken Force, and Team Battles with online support of some of these modes. This will help many casual players and online players having fun on and offline. Next would be customization. While customization is nice, it would be better if we had more tools of it in Tekken 7. The customization was quite limited at launch, although it has gotten better, but it's missing something like having decals, which is in Tekken Tag Tournament 2. At least you can send a message to your opponents with it. And also, classic costumes from previous games on many characters, which would also help, such as
Shimitsu's Tekken 6 costume, Paul's badass Tekken 4 costume, Kazuya's Tekken 2 Player 2 costume, Eddie's Tekken 3 Player 2 costume, and Jin's alternate Tekken 4 costume.
oh wait, there's more DLC costumes in the arcade version. Well, that's nice. Another thing, it would be nice to see your opponent's ping and internet because bars can lie. So you having to set pings in matchmaking would ease up players with good internet. Also, what about replays, especially on PC? We don't want to waste our hard drive space, will we? Also, better player information. And finally, matchmaking. Despite selling 1.5 million copies on PS4, players in rank are finding themselves fighting the same opponents over and over again, even after a different match, or waiting forever to find one. So faster matchmaking would ease up the time spent waiting for finding players.
This is a very important factor considering that most fighting games nowadays have one. Let's for a second not worry about the statistics of how much Fight Lab was played on Tekken Tag Tournament 2. For new and veteran players alike of Tekken, I personally thought that it was a fun and interesting take on a tutorial mode. I kind of feel like companies now only rely on a professional scene with their games to keep the game afloat, and the casual scene almost has no choice but to sit back and watch a game that appears to look very complex to play and not knowing where to start if they wanted to get into it. I get asked a lot by people who want to get into Tekken about where to start. Most people would usually tell them to find a character that suits their play style, learn some combos, learn the matchups, and things along those lines. But then how will you explain things to them like frame data, Okizemis, DSS, high crush, crumple stun, fuzzy guard, buffering, poking, punishment, electrics, and more? That's not something you're going to learn just by playing the game, and scrolling text does not count as tutorials and tips, just no. Tekken 7 is a very rewarding game if you know how to play it well, and learning the fundamentals in the game is the way to go. If we look at other fighting game tutorials for example, you see how they break down the game mechanics step by step. Sometimes I think they overload you with so much information that you really have to take your time in digesting it all, but at the end of the day, you're definitely learning how the game is meant to be played. Game companies such as Arc System takes the crown in delivering the best tutorials for fighting games, and even though I'm not a crazy huge fan of 2D fighters, at least I'm well informed enough to even give them a shot. Once you've gotten the basics out of the way, your experience online will shape your knowledge as a player. Tekken definitely had a good thing going with the Fight Lab. If anything, they should have at least built on it and maybe updated it with the new mechanics that came along with Tekken 7. Casual fans and players play a huge part in a game's success, so don't exclude out that fan base with a rich game with no tutorial. So until something happens, we can at least rely on the community's input with tutorials for the game online.
Nope.
Legacy characters. This has been talked about to death. And this is why the mobile games been getting more support because of some legacy characters returns, such as Christy Montero, Monarch, Bruce, and Ancient Ogre. Who knows what they're gonna add next? So having returning legacy characters would help Tekken 7 on the long run, especially when Street Fighter 5 has been doing it for the recent seasons. And these are my hopes for Tekken 7 Season 2. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and spread the word towards the Tekken community. This is Editman Ryo Goku signing off.